Hello everyone, welcome to participate in our Peace, Love and Human Rights Forum today. I'm the host Roger. Today, we invited four speakers to talk about the voice of justice against illegal tax bills. The illegal revolve tax bills which persecuted Taijimen Shifu and Dizi for 25 years. And not only getting more and more support of scholars and experts in Taiwan, but also the attention of human rights fighters all over the world. At the 2021 International Religious Freedom Summit held in Washington from July 13 to 15, the Taijimen illegal tax case has received great attention from the organizer. Now, let's watch a theme that supports Taijimen from overseas.
Taijimen Qigong Academy and the Action Alliance to Redress 1219 have sought justice from Taiwan's government through live protests and virtual forums.
Stop violating Taijimen's human rights!
So the Taijimen Qigong Academy case started in 1996, and it was persecution on spiritual groups, and Taijimen Qigong Academy was caught in the crossfire of all of that. Despite Supreme Court of Taiwan's rulings that we're innocent and tax-free, a few rogue bureaucrats continue to send us tax bills, and even just last year in 2020, our land was illegally auctioned off.
The Taijimen case has also garnered support from scholars around the world.
And in Taiwan, the long-running attack against the Taijimen community by bureaucratic despots within the tax administration have led many religious freedom experts around the world to condemn this form of administrative religious persecution.
The abuse of the National Tax Bureau has lasted for almost a quarter of a century. I call upon the Taiwan government to honor the law, the sentences passed by its judges, and the moral responsibility it has to watch over and protect all its citizens equally, as determined by its own mandate.
A breakthrough in the case occurred when the principal witness, on whom the prosecutor based his tax evasion accusation against Taijimen, told a journalist that the prosecutor oversaw the case and that the witness testimony was merely a formality. The witness revealed that illegal tax bills were issued to Taijimen at the request of the Investigation Bureau's City Field Office. Xu Yesheng accepted this interview when seriously ill and revealed that he was pressured to do what the prosecution told him to do. Although he has since passed away, Taijimen is hopeful that his testimony will provide the evidence needed to obtain justice.
It proves that what happened was not a mistake. There was no mistake. It was a deliberate framing of Taijimen for obscure motivations through false documents, false accusations, and a false tax investigation that never happened. Now, if this is not enough to reopen the Taijimen case and cancel the 1992 tax bill, give back to Taijimen their sacred land, I don't know what more is needed. It's a general principle of the law all over the world that when new elements emerge, even final decisions can and should be revised. Revision is a fundamental principle of justice.
So far this year, the Action Alliance to Redress 1219 has presented messages to representatives from TECRO, the Taiwan Economic and Cultural Representative Office in San Francisco and Washington, D.C.
We're Taijimen members in the United States. We conveyed our message to Taiwan's Representative Lai in San Francisco.
We have just conveyed our message to Taiwan's Representative Xiao in the DC.
So far, there has been no response, but the Taijimen Qigong Academy and the Action Alliance to Redress 1219 continue their activism in person and online, where scholars continue to voice their support for the cause.
The government of Taiwan should do the right thing and eliminate the tax from 1992, which is just absurd considering what has happened for 1991 and the other years, and to restore the property that was unlawfully seized.
The difference with Taijimen is that they fight. And perhaps it's not too much to say that they're fighting to preserve Taiwan as a democratic country that follows its own laws and stifles corruption in bureaucracy.
Justice for Taijimen, for human rights!
Why do so many foreign scholars and experts support Taijimen? Because this illegal tax bill should not be issued from the beginning. The government should not obliterate its own conscience, protect officials who violate the law, and make the people suffer. Anyone who respects human rights, the spirit of democracy, and the rule of law will stand on the side of justice. Let's welcome Zeke, who grew up in Taijimen and now is an engineer in foreign company, to share his view on this case.
Hello everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a firmware engineer and also a Taijimen Diz. When I was 6 years old, my father took my family to Taijimen to practice Qigong. At first, we simply want to be healthier by practicing Qigong. But we found that we not only get physically healthier, but also learn how to improve our mental and spiritual health. I was shy when I was little. However, my Shifu, Shimu, brothers and sisters always encouraged me to push myself. So I started to share my ideas with others and even share my views on love and peace through cultural exchanges. Finally, I grew brave and confident. Furthermore, I was able to lead my team to get third place in the International Innovative Services Award when I was encouraged. I have a lot of wonderful brothers and sisters in Taijimen Energy family. Even though we are not related, we have the same Fu and Shimu, so that we always help and care for one another, just like families. To me, Taijimen is my second home. However, Prosecutor Hou Kuanren asked the test officer Shi Yuesheng, who had never conducted any factual investigation into Taijimen, to accomplish perjury in 1996. Shi Yuesheng falsely accused the red envelope as income and asked the National Taxation Bureau to issue the tax bills to my Shifu illegally. Yet, in 2007, the Supreme Court ruled that Taijimen had no fraud and no tax evasion. It was further acknowledged that since the red envelope offered by Dizi to Shifu were gifts, which are tax-free income under Article 4, subparagraph 17 of the Income Tax Act. And in 2011, at the interministerial meeting, National Taxation Bureau of the Taipei agreed to the final decision that it will announce to the public and keep the announcement window open for 2 months. That an investigation will be conducted to verify the nature of the red envelopes, and that the Taijimen case will be closed if the results of the investigation confirmed the nature of the red envelope is given. In 2012, the results of the 7,401 surveys showed that 100% of the red envelope were gifts. Not a single one claimed that it was tuition, which was the same as the determination made earlier by the Supreme Court. But in 2020, the National Taxation Bureau and the Administrative Enforcement Agency still forcibly auctioned off the Taijimen's land, which was intended for a spiritual center. The land was confiscated for negating due process of law. If it's not my personal experience, I could not believe these things are actually happening in Taiwan. Those government officials' salaries are paid by the people. They shall serve the people. On the contrary, they disregarded the Supreme Court's ruling and still issued the illegal tax bills. They disregarded the due process procedure and still auctioned off the people's land. Yet, none of them got published by the law, and even some of them got promoted. President Tsai once said that when the government cannot hear the voice of the people, people can speak out louder. If the government still cannot hear the people can beat the table and shout loudly and angrily to the government. There are more and more domestic and foreign experts, scholars, legislators, and chiefs of the village all over Taiwan are paying attention and calling for the resolution of the Taijimen tax case. President Tsai, do you hear our voices? To err is human. To correct a mistake is the greatest good. I hereby call on the Taiwanese government and the officials to immediately correct the mistakes and rectify Taijimen tax case. Thank you for your listening.
Thanks, Zeke. He mentioned that Taijimen is like a big family. The relationship between Dizi is like brothers and sisters. Shifu and Shimu, just like their parents. The red envelopes Dizi offers to Shifu, like those to his parents, are gifts. It is human nature relationship and tax-free for the recipient. How can there be tax problems? However, the persecution of Taijimen by state apparatus is even worse. On September 19 last year, the police from Liujia branch of Zhubei Police Office forcibly arrested Mrs. Huang, who raised a police car expressing her appeal on the side of the road, without any illegal evidence. This is not only secondary injury to Taijimen, but also cause an uproar in society. Now, let's welcome Joanna.
Hello, my name is Joanna. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Taijimen is a well-known Qigong Menpai passed down through generations by ancient sages over 6,000 years. Nowadays, one of the main tasks of Taijimen is to promote conscious love and peace to the world. Dr. Hong Daozi established Taijimen Qigong Academy in 1966. He always teaches philosophy and wisdom to his students. Furthermore, he initiates the conscious awakening movement to general public, wishing everyone to do what is right and good, especially to do one's work or duty well and thoroughly. As a deed of Taijimen for 10 years, all my family members learn how to advance our physical, mental, and spiritual health. I'm the youngest daughter in my family. When I was 38, I had trouble sleeping at night. Suddenly, I realized that something was wrong. I joined Taijimen to practice Qigong to keep myself healthy. I just tried it and didn't expect too much. Surprisingly, I could fall asleep in a month. As a result, I became more energetic and performed better at work. Therefore, all my family members joined Taijimen right away. However, such an international non-profit cultural menpai has been involved in a mess of tax bills issued by National Taxation Bureau, which has been going on for a long time, just like a 25-year nightmare. More importantly, the tax bills have turned into an erratic indicator of human rights violation in Taiwan. On August 21, 2020, they even auctioned off the land of Taijimen. On September 19, 2020, Ms. It Huang, a volunteer for the Legal and Tax Reform League, exercised her right to freedom of expression guaranteed by the Constitution of Taiwan, to question and condemn the action. She was questioned and even detained by the police for simply holding a sign. In Taiwan, we have rights and freedoms of expression to everything which will be of benefit to people. We should be concerned about how things are going with Ms. It Huang. Obviously, it does to deprive people of rights. What should we do to ensure that similar issues do not arise in the future? We must to figure out a new order, new norms, and a new law, as well as to repeal obsolete law and regulations. As yet, there are quite a few tax dispute affairs about people who are punished by the National Taxation Bureau in Taiwan. Now is the time for the government to establish a means of adjustment for the victims. I firmly believe that we must not only go through justice, but also continue to make effort to the culture of conscience, because love is possible through conscience. Human rights are possible through love. Peace is possible through human rights. A quote from Dr. Hong Daozi. This is my sharing. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Joanna. Paying attention to Taiwan issue for a long time and visit Taiwan many times, Attorney Kenneth Jacobson as a law professor at Temple University in USA. After studying in depth the Taijimen case, he was surprised that he had never read such a case that illegal officials abused their power so severely. Now, let's listen to Professor Kenneth's views on this case and his voice of justice to Taiwanese government.
Hello, my name is Professor Kenneth Jacobson, and I am a law professor at Temple University in Philadelphia. I teach, I research, and I practice law in the area of evidence and procedure and other subjects. And we have in the United States, as in Taiwan, we have rules that govern evidence, and we have rules that govern procedure. And we have, as you do in Taiwan, a constitution that dictates how we should behave. And we have laws that regulate our behavior as well. I'm very familiar with Taiwan. I've traveled there many times. I've lectured at National Taiwan University. I have visited the Legislative Yuan, the Control Yuan, and your other powers. So I'm familiar with your country, and I'm familiar with its love and respect for the rule of law. And as a practicing lawyer, and now as a teacher of my students for years, the rule of law is absolutely critical. It's essential. Without observance and adherence to the rule of law, then we have lawlessness. And that is what happened, in my opinion, in the Taijimen tax case. I have studied the Taijimen tax case for many years. I've read many documents related to the Taijimen tax case. And I believe that I have not seen more abuse of power than I have in the Taijimen tax case. And when government officials abuse power, it affects not only the victims of that abuse, but it affects all of us, because that means that the rule of law is not being followed. And that falls on all of us, whether the direct targets of that abuse or not. I know of Taijimen's ordeal for 24 years to stop the prosecution and persecution, because it was not only a prosecution, it was a persecution with what Taijimen had to endure at the hands of the prosecutor. I admire and respect the perseverance of Taijimen and Dr. Hong for fighting relentlessly against, not only against unfair taxes, which they were, but against the abuse of power of those that hold that power. But the battle is not over. The battle is not over. After decades of fighting against these forces of oppression, the tax years have been corrected for 5 years, but they remain for 1. And that, to me, is a disturbing and an incredible part of this unfortunate saga, because 1992 is no different than the other tax years, 91, 93, 94, 95, 96. It's no different. It's no different. If, as the criminal division of the Supreme Court found, if, as many courts have found, if everyone that looked at this at the end of the day has found, looked at it seriously, not looked at it through concealed evidence or fabricated evidence as happened in this case, but look at this, those years are no different than 1992. And principles of fairness, principles of equity, and principles of what we call res judicata, a concept that comes from the Latin, but it also applies around the world. It means once something is decided, it should be decided. It has been decided in a Taijimen tax case for those 5 other years. It should be decided the same way for 1992. This case should be brought to an end. Justice should prevail. And as important, the rule of law must prevail. Because without the rule of law, we have nothing. I have a great respect for Taiwan and the Taiwanese government, just like I have great respect and love for the Taiwanese people. It is unfortunate, but the Taijimen case is a blemish on the government. It is a stain on the government. Most government officials, as in the United States, like most people, as in the United States, are good people. They're lawful people. But the problem is that very small percent that are not good people, but have power, it's like a cancer, and it could absolutely corrupt the rest of the organization. And it's got to be stopped. The government, the other people in that same agency or in government have to identify it, which has happened in Taijimen's case. They know where the abuses are, but they have to stop it. I think that it is as bad, if not worse, to allow an injustice to continue as it is to create the injustice in the first place. And that is what's happened here with Taijimen. It's been allowed to continue. So my request would be to the government officials who are all good, to the president of Taiwan, to the various ministers, is to put a stop to this ongoing injustice. You can do it. You have the power to do it. Fix and correct the misdeeds of those that created this illegal, problem in the first place. Good luck to Taijimen. Good luck to Dr. Hong. And let's hope that this regrettable, unfortunate, and really terrible ordeal will come to an end. Thank you.
Professor Canas pointed out that the Taijimen illegal taxation case, the tax bills from year of 1991 to 1996, are of the same property. The National Taxation Bureau has no reason to correct only 5 of them to 0 and leave that of year 1992 without revocation. He called on the government to follow the rule of law to prevent officials abusing their power and violating human rights. Now, let's invite Miss Ayla, a young teacher who also grew up in Taijimen, to share her point of views.
Hello everyone, my name is Ayla and I'm a teacher. Today I'm here to share as a Taijimen Dizi. As an educator, I value more on honesty and attitude of learning than grades. I'm thankful to grow up in a positive environment so that I know that these are the most important things for my students. Knowledge is indispensable for living, but integrity leads a long way. As I mentioned, I grew up in a positive environment. I practiced Qigong with my family at Taijimen at very young age. My Shifu teaches me the philosophy of life, which is to tell the right from wrong and true from false. And these are also the most essential values in personality education. Unfortunately, while we teachers are working so hard to educate the future generations to be honest and kind, our government is showing us a completely opposite example by abusing its power against the rule of law in the Taijimen tax case. As Professor Kenneth Jacobson mentioned earlier, Taijimen tax case is a persecution. Why? It is because the government officials are afraid and refuse to admit their own mistakes. The National Taxation Bureau corrected the tax amount on the red envelopes for the year of 1991 to 1996 to 0, except for the year of 1992. Since 1992 is no different from all other years, it should be corrected to 0 as well, based on the principle of fairness and equity. These illegal government officials should know that what they are doing right now is poisoning our future generations. They have damaged the rule of law and the people's trust to the government. How could a country be strong if its people no longer trust its own government? Every time when I see my students, I really hope every one of them will be a good person when they grow up. So we, as grown-ups, should build them a safe and healthy country, but not a country full of lies and injustice. The Supreme Court has found Taijimen not guilty of tax evasion or a violation of tax codes. Therefore, the National Taxation Bureau must fix its illegal tax bill immediately and follow the rule of law. Only in this way can justice be prevailed. Thank you.
Thanks, Ayla. If elected government officers can refuse to fix their mistakes and let the people become victims, how can the people trust the government? How do they educate the next generation to be honest and respect human rights? Now, let's invite Peter, a young process engineer, to share his opinion.
Hello everyone, I'm Peter. I joined Taijimen to practice Qigong with my family when I was 10 years old. My Shifu, Dr. Hong Daozi, has been leading his Dizi to travel around the world to promote the idea of conscience, love, and peace. I once had followed my Shifu to South Korea to participate in the World Summit of Love and Peace. What impressed me the most was when we were singing the song "Happiness is Everywhere." Even so, distinguished guests and we have different skin colors and language barriers. We gather and dance to the music happily as a result of love and joy. It made me feel that world peace is really achievable. My Shifu also told us that the heart is the root of everything, and the good and evil of the human heart are easily affected by attachment, anger, ignorance, pride, and jealousy. We can call it 5 poisons in the heart. And I think attachment is the most terrible because it will affect others due to self-greedy. Just like Taiwan's Ministry of Finance prepares more than $130 million for tax inspection incentives, and the Administrative Enforcement Agency prepares $170 million for administrative execution bonuses every year. Driven by the bonuses, civil servants cannot help but become greedy and unknowingly cases of illegal taxation in Taiwan. Taijimen did not own taxis, but the Administrative Enforcement Agency seized Taijimen's property illegally. After two auctions in 2020, no one bought it on August 21st, but the National Taxation Bureau of Taipei and the National Taxation Bureau of the Central Area took it over directly. As early as March 2020, the Hsinchu branch of the Administrative Enforcement Agency clearly requests the Shilin branch to report on the performance of the Taijimen property auction case and give back one-half of the performance to the Hsinchu branch. Before the auction of the property, the possible bonus issue of dividends was already discussed. It is reasonable to speculate that the illegal auction is caused by the temptation of executive bonuses. Performance bonuses have allowed the officials of the Administration Enforcement Agency to be greedy among the 5 poisons. Regardless of the people's constant complaints, they just want to satisfy their own selfish desires. For 25 years, the Taijimen tax case has not been resolved. This has been long enough to see the problems of the social system. Therefore, we must not only awake the conscience in the hearts of officials, but also establish a good legal tax system and a good social environment. The most important thing is that the government should abolish tax incentives and execution bonuses immediately to reduce the chances of officials being greedy, so that people's lives can be more secure and there won't have next Taijimen case again. The above is all my opinion. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Peter. Greed forced the illegal officials to lose their conscience and caused the people suffering injustice. Do they really think they can get away with it? As the saying goes, what goes around comes around. When life is gone, they will eventually face God's judgment. Some advice to a few illegal officials who abuse their power and persecute the human rights. Please correct your mistake before too late and return to shore. Use your power to enforce the rule of law. Then you can create a harmonic and happy environment for people and accumulate your merits. Now, let's revisit today's forum by the song The Truth of Taijimen Case, hoping that governments can listen to the people's voice of justice and abolish all illegal tax bill in Taiwan. Thanks for attention. Bye-bye.
About the Taijimen case, Taiwan Supreme Court found Taijimen not guilty of tax evasion or any other charges. The
truth about the Taijimen case. Taiwan Supreme Court found Taijimen not guilty of tax evasion or any other charges. The National Tax Bureau and the Ministry of Finance reneged on their promise to refund the tax bill. The National Tax Bureau illegally auctioned off the sacred land of Taijimen. The land was illegally taken into state ownership.